Hey guys, firstly, thanks for showing your support for these videos. I've just noticed how the first two have been going, and it's kind of shocking that they're doing better than some of my actual reviews. I mean, maybe I should have just started a blog working in IKEA, or I don't know if this is supposed to be the popular thing, but we'll carry on with it, so there's plenty of these videos, so you're liking them, I'm going to keep doing them, and there's plenty more to come. So, shelf number 5. This is pretty much the Cosmos and Asmodee shelf, with one exception. And this is going to free up over time, because you'll notice there's some there that aren't going to be there for much longer. So we'll start with the Asmodee one very quick. This is all the same thing really, Timeline. It's a really nice little filler game. I can use it remotely if I really want to, but it's just a nice one that I can go, you never played games before? You go into history? Fine, let's do this. You build up your timeline of cards, you try to slot in the cards that you've got in the timeline to see, oh, I think the needle was invented before, penicillin, for example, obviously. But it's stuff like that, and I like the inventions one the best, but I've got British history, even though I suck at history, and I think I've got science and discoveries as well, so it's just a bit of variety, but very nice, very classy, it just works, it's just a nice little filler. Now, I've got several of these exit games here, and some of them are in shrink wrap, because I still haven't even got round to playing them properly. Basically, once I play them, they'll be gone. They're one use only, but I enjoy the exit and unlock games. I've kind of burnt out a bit on escape rooms, though, I must admit, which is probably why these have been on my shelf for a long time. But at some point, these next 2 weeks that I've got off, I will get round to playing these, and then once I've played them, they'll be gone, because that's it. It's an escape room in a box. You pretty much tear the thing apart to try and get everything done, and, well, this one I know is apparently an easy one, and I've still got Mansion, I've still got Forbidden Castle, still got Murder of the Orient Express, still got quite a few on there to get through, but hopefully I can just churn through these at some point, and then maybe the space there will free up room for another game. Why not? Whoop. Oh, God. Alright, I'm just going to put this down. I'm going to put these down here. Cool. Then we'll get on to the last one for, well, the odd one out before I go on the rest of Cosmos. Bang the Dice game. Still enjoy this one. This has got the first expansion in it. I have no idea what the second one's like. Didn't buy it. Don't see a need, because this one was getting played relentlessly by me for a while. And now I just never seem to get it to the table. It's kind of odd. Probably because I need to take it to a few more gatherings or something, but I still enjoy this one. It's just, it takes what Bang did, but makes it a lot shorter, a lot easier. You throw dice, Yahtzee-style mechanism, where you're shooting up your partners, even though you don't necessarily know who they're with. Sheriff's trying to stay alive and kill the outlaws. The deputy's trying to protect the sheriff. The renegade, who I love to play the renegade. The hardest role to win with. But I have done it. I have won with the renegade several times. Once in an 8-player setting. I was proud of that one. But, it's just great how you've got the hidden roles with simple dice rolling. And it just works. First expansion throws in some extra characters. A couple of new dice and nothing too particularly complicated. Not sure I need the stuff from the second expansion. I'll probably avoid it, but like I say, still really like this one, and as you can see, it's had its fair share of punishment, because for a while I was just playing it a lot, relentlessly. Alright, now pretty much Cosmos. Cosmos do a lot of cool games, particularly in the small box line of what they do, and particularly for 2 players. When you think 2-player games, Cosmos is the first thing I think of before I think of other publishers. Cosmos and probably Empress 4 as well in that respect. So with these ones, the big box one first. Imhotep. Yes, like the Imhotep from the old Mummy film, which I still have a bit of a soft nostalgic spot for. But this one is, this one needs a little bit more buzz. I don't see it being played anymore, but even though it's just basically a bunch of wooden cubes, it's a cool, interesting game where you've got these boats that you put the cubes on, and you sail them to these different locations to try and score points in lots of different ways, but everybody is doing it. So you're loading these stones up, of which timing is key, because you've only got so many, you have to get more from the quarry. And then people can sail these boats, not necessarily to where you want them to go. And then they come off in order from the start to the finish. So there's so much to consider in terms of timing and that, but the mechanics are dead simple. And then you put it in the temple, and it's done in rows so that you look top down, that scores. The pyramid, you score instant points. The obelisk, tallest building, gets the most points. There's stuff like that, as well as some cool cards that you can use. I don't think I have got Dynasty in here, whatever the expansion is. Probably because this hasn't hit the table enough to warrant it. I still have a good time with that, but maybe at some point I'll try and get the expansion in here, because looks easy enough to include, and I don't see why I shouldn't have it really, because I do enjoy this game. But my god, it can be mean as all get out, but definitely worth a look. Following on from that, Imhotep, the door. Yeah, I liked it enough that I wanted both in the collection. But these two-player games by Cosmos are solid. I mean, I don't love them all, but some of them are just like, they just sing, they just work. They give you enough tactical thinking, enough strategic play without making it too complex. So I can teach these to people who are only just getting into games while they've got something to learn. I don't feel like I'm going to demolish them every single game. But Imhotep the Door's a really cool one. You've still got that whole boats thing, but then you've got tokens for the ways for what point scoring opportunities you have, and your own board for temple, obelisk, and pyramid, a bit like the other one. But the way they score is a bit different from the big version. But I love the way that in this you put the meeples on this board, and then you take the meeples off and take the tokens off in the order of the meeples. So it's a bit like the boat and the cubes in there. But with this one, there's more ways to screw over the one opponent as to like, oh, if I take my meeples off now, he doesn't get the token that he wants. So I can really mess you on there. The boats come in at different times, so you've got to think on the fly, oh god, that boat's really good for me, I need to get that. And then you've got the different ways that they score. But it's just frightfully simple. It's not complicated at all. You just carry on until you run out of tokens. And it's very much a push and pull thing. I didn't expect this one to entertain me as much as it did. But one thing about Phil Walker Harding, he does a lot of cool games, I've got to admit. He's a designer you should always keep an eye on. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. Whoop. I'm gonna take... Oh yeah, forgot about this one. Let's get on to that one later. Carrying on the two-player thing, Lost Cities. Who hasn't heard of that one? Yes, I mean, Tom Vassell raves about it, Sam Healey hates it. There's all sorts of people like it and love it, hate it and despise it, whatever. But the original card game for Lost Cities, just a plank, bunch of cards, numbered 1 to 10, put them out, try and get the most value from your expeditions. You already paid 20 points for it, so you have to try and make up for those 20 and then some with the cards that you play, which must be in sequential order. The problem is, you have a limited hand. So does your opponent. Your opponent might be holding on to cards that you need, but how long can you hold on to those cards that your opponent needs before eventually you need to start playing cards on the board? It's very tense in the decision making. It can go back and forth. Best of 3 rounds. You've got these multiplier cards that allow you to essentially double or triple or quadruple your net worth, which is great if you're in the positive, not good if you're in the negative. So you can really screw yourself over if you're not careful with them. But it's a cool one. It's, there's a fair bit of luck to it. It's just a simple card drawing game, but that's the idea. It's a simple card drawing game. And as much as relationships with my last ex didn't work out the way I wanted them to, when I did get her to play a few games, this was her favourite. This was the one that she constantly wanted us to play often, to the point where I almost burnt out on it. But, it was fun that she liked a game. There was a game I taught her that she just gelled with, and we played it ever since, and I love that. If I can get a new gamer into games and then they pick one in my collection to say, oh, can we keep playing that one? I'll be like, certainly, let's do it. Cool. And then probably my least favourite of the 3 that I'm just mentioning, but still good, still really good. Kahuna. This one is a straightforward game where you are fending for control on this map. You're building bridges across the different islands as well as putting your control markers on there. But in order to get a control marker on there, you have to have so many bridges off an island. Your opponent's doing the same thing though, and there's ways to knock each other's bridges off or to overlap their bridges. And you can end up in a situation where you can create these chain effects where by controlling one region, you control another region, which then knocks your control of another region. Is that you can create these cool combos. But the mechanics are straightforward. You have 3 cards, you draw a card, you play a card, you have a few choices. There is a bit of luck of the draw, but there's limited numbers of cards. I mean, you can tell how many bridges are on there and how many cards are in the deck. And it is very simple, but it can be quite cutthroat. You are actively destroying your opponent's control markers because, after all, you're trying to win with them. So this is definitely an in-your-face two-player game. But for tactics, it's very high on that, very high on strategy. Not a huge amount of luck, although I'd argue that you still have to draw a card, so therefore there's going to be some luck involved. But yeah, I mean, I tend to lose this one more often than I win it, I must admit, so maybe I'm eating my words there. But again, quick, simple, fun. That's what these Cosmos does best. And then finally, this is a new one actually, which I was kind of surprised. I mean, how long it will stay in the collection, I don't know, but I don't have any other trick-taking games. So, okay, I'll keep this one, because this is so far my favourite of the lot, even though trick-taking is not my favourite mechanic ever. You know, the quest for Planet 9, who cares? The campaign in this, come on, it's just basically 50 scenarios. But the crew is interesting where it's a co-op trick-taking game. Okay, this is different. Okay, you're giving me something new. Good. But with this one, you have the scenarios where it requires you to collect tricks in different orders, or have certain values of tricks, or certain other modifiers on, and each of you in your team, with no communication other than a token that you can use every now and again, must try to, like, make the game play out so that the tricks are won in the order or in the prerequisites they need to be. Like, you know, I need to get the first trick, they need the second, they need the third, right? So make certain I win the first trick. Okay, I've got these, but this sounds a bit like the mind. And yes, I despise the mind a lot. But the thing that separates this is because unlike the mind, which is literally just guesswork, I don't care how many articles people have come out with trying to explain the strategic importance of the mind. Come on. You know, this one has you actually able to game the situation and make educated decisions because you know how many cards are in the deck. You know what's being played if your memory's good. Yes, they flip over so you can't see them all the time, but you should be able to at least remember, okay, a lot of yellows have been played. There's a good chance this yellow is going to win the trick if I play it, even though it's a low value. Do I want to win the trick? Am I misjudging? When do I play my trump card? You know, there's ways that you can game what's going to happen and figure things out as a group or even by yourself, particularly when players put those limited communication tokens out. That elevates it leagues above the mind, in my opinion. But it's a neat little one. It's so easy to teach. It's so quick to play. I mean, like, you know, a game could be 5 minutes if you do badly, but you're talking like this will easily take 20 to 30 minutes of your time to have 2 or 3 games of an interesting trick taker. So it's in the collection for now, and it's done well to date. So, number 5, pretty much the Cosmos and Asmodee shelf with 1 or 2 exceptions. This shelf's next. See you on the next video. Thanks for watching. See you soon.